Hey guys, this is KSP with Tape, and today you join me for episode 10 of Solar Civilization, and today we're leaving Minmus. Our three-man crew has been on a 20-day mission exploring Minmus and the space leading up to it, doing lots of scientific experiments and pushing the boundaries of what we know, and what we can do in terms of landing large payloads on the surface, which will be important because we have lots of transfer windows coming up. We have a Jool transfer window, which will probably just be a probe, but we have a Duna transfer window, which I'd quite like to catch with a crewed vehicle. Will have to be a fairly large vehicle, I reckon, because well, you know, they're going to be in space for a while. But we'll see about that in this episode. God damn, I hope I'm thinking of the right episode, or I've disappointed all of you. But yeah, no. So. This is obviously all at 4 times time accelerate because there's quite a lot to get in this episode. Yeah, there's loads of stuff. There's loads of new things. It'll be a lot of fun. This has been mainly in the dark so far. I'm sorry about that, but there's nothing I can do. I'll try to brighten it because I know YouTube does darken it. But hey, there's lots of fire. You can see everything now. Well, you can just see the fire. But yeah, we're getting along in our tech tree pretty well. But this has been a pretty big mission. We've done a lot of material. We've done material studies, mystery goo, temperature. We've taken EVA reports and crew reports from 2 different biomes on the surface and in orbit with Minmus. So you know, it's pretty good. And we're picking up this weird spin motion now as we descend. I'm not sure why, but anyway, we're almost on the ground. Well, in the ocean, and we've dropped our heat shield. You can just see it splash there if you really focused. But we are down and they are back and happy about that. So yeah, that's 748 science. Now we have 800 science. So I thought I'd leave this bit in because I often don't put in what I unlock. I want bigger landing legs, obviously for landing and for landing big stages. I want the grabber arm because obviously there's asteroids to be mined and well, not mined, just, you know, caught. And they're good for connecting ships that don't have docking capabilities. I'm also going to unlock some bigger engines. Not that I particularly need bigger engines, but there's just some good engines there. And I got the wheels, as you probably just saw. I don't have nuclear rockets yet, and I am kind of looking at taking people to other places. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, now you join me with the Moho Explorer. In the sphere of influence of Moho. You can see in the alarm clock there's 10 days till the next Moho transfer window, but we will not be catching that. But anyway, we're going to take a few reports. Obviously, high above Minmus, we need to take our materials bay on our mystery goo and transmit that. And I'm just going to move this, what is this? This mod menu, I guess, because well, it's kind of annoying me where it was, but I think it'll be better there. And it's starting to get quite full because of all the MechJeb stuff. I'm not sure how much I like that, but you know, it's alright. Anyway, we'll transmit that materials bay back, the materials bay report back. It was a little painful seeing that you get 200 science and then you transmit it and you get 40, but it's, you know, it's still, I still get about 180 science from this mission, I believe. So that's, yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, that's like half a next tech tree level, actually way more than that. I mean, the tech tree levels I'm at right now are about 300 science to unlock. But anyway, we must get closer to Minmus. Minmus? God damn it, Moho. I spent so much time on Minmus recently. But yeah, and on a sunrise as well. So we don't have much time, we're going very fast past Minmus. Moho, god damn it. So we'll take our mystery goo and our materials bay and our temperature with our thermometer because we want to get as much science as possible. Yeah, so and you can take a I took a little while to look at the surface because it does look really good. Moho is one of the planets that I think looks pretty amazing. I hope they do update more of them soon because I mean Dres and stuff and a lot of the Julian moons still look a bit eh, but it's coming along nicely. But anyway, this again needs to transmit its data. We are now on the light side of Moho, and we need to move the craft so that the solar panels are in the right position to get as much power as possible. Because this is a very old spacecraft. It's been in space for 24 days. 24 human days, 100 Kerbal days, but we have made a lot of progress in that time. This is now in Earth days because I prefer having it in Earth days because it wasn't Kerbal days for a while. But that means there's a lot of time between transfer windows, and I want to be moving around and doing stuff. And I do leave 7 days between launches, as I've mentioned. But anyway, yeah, this is an old spacecraft. Doesn't even have the articulating solar panels. But anyway, now you join me on the launch pad with the launch of whatever this is. Oh no, God, this is I just remembered. I'm trying to think what this was, but this is a probe going out to Jool. Yeah, inside that big fairing, it looks like it's a really huge payload, but it's just quite long. Again, I'm going out to Jool with this, and I haven't unlocked nuclear engines yet, so it does have to be quite large, but I have actually, it's not huge, and there will be quite a lot of fuel left in the second stage of this rocket, which I didn't count on, so this will actually be much more capable than I first thought. So I will be able to do lots of exploring Jool. Now you can see it. Basically, it's got there's basically as much science as I could logically get on there without making a huge spacecraft. And we've got a larger spacecraft being assembled rather soon. But yeah, you can see our Jool window is 18 days away, so I'm going to keep this in orbit for a while. And we also have a Duna window in 28 days, so yeah, now I'm going to be frantically building a Duna spacecraft. You won't see all of it in this episode because there's a lot of things in this episode, but I need to do a few things. Again, no nuclear engines, it's going to be difficult, but I want to be heading out to Duna. Anyway, so we'll leave this in orbit with tons of fuel. It has like a ridiculous amount of delta V. And Jool's on a fairly level plane with Kerbal around the sun, so that's all good. Yeah, but we'll open up our solar panels and leave it here to well, even if it did run out, we could probably send a spacecraft from the station to go and open them up manually, so you know it wouldn't all be lost. But anyway, you join me on the runway with my first design of a rover. I haven't actually made any yet in this series, and this is just kind of a standard solar-powered 6-wheel rover with a little light on the front. It's just driving around. It's fairly handleable, but because I left all the steering on, it's a little jittery, but it's quite nice. Anyway, I take a drive over to this big old, I think it would be an oxidizer tank that we're looking at right now, storing the Space Center's oxidizer. There's a ladder, I might climb that one day. Yeah, it's a nice looking Space Center. I really do like how the Space Center looks now, because that's the that VAB over there. I think that's based on the Kennedy space. No, Cape Canaveral. I think it was originally used for Apollo spacecrafts, maybe. I think also the shuttle and maybe Delta rockets. I'm trying to think which ones it was, but anyway. And this little monument, the Rest in Peace Mark 1 pod. Just everything looks really nice in this Space Center now, so I felt like driving around it a bit. But I want to make a science rover, and I'll test it out on the runway because I haven't actually taken any science from the runway yet. So here it is. I might as well take some reports from the runway, get all the science we can. I did take an EVA report from there after my plane disaster, which I'm very proud that I landed that, like hugely so. This is using obviously the bigger wheels. You know, it's a heavy duty rover for maybe crossing rough terrain, and those wheels can accelerate in, I think, apparently up to 60 meters a second, but I've only ever got them up to like 25, but maybe that's because they're on Kerbal. Maybe on moons it would be better. Maybe I'll send a rover to the moon. Maybe I'll send one to Duna at some point, but I've got a manned mission coming up after this. That'll be interesting, because I do want to obviously be pushing the boundaries and putting bases places, as I always say. So I need to be taking Kerbals out of the Kerbal system as quickly as possible. I mean, there'll be a huge amount of science to be mined. So you join me on the launch pad with the core of our spacecraft. This is the Duna Explorer core. It is the habitation and return craft and life support. I don't have any life support generations, so I've just taken absolutely loads. And the rocket you see right now is my standard launch system with the 5-engine one with a couple of solid rocket boosters because I thought it might need a little extra delta V, and this is obviously going to be another reusability test. It is using the larger landing legs, and it's got parachutes on it because I need to redirect this to land. So I'm thinking I use the fuel to redirect it and then land it on parachutes for now until I figure out how to do it just propulsively. But you know, I want to be moving in the right direction of reusing rockets. But anyway, now we must again race to orbit. I should probably figure out how to do this better because I have started putting my spacecraft in bad orbits just to reuse the rockets. But you know, but there's so much fuel on this again that I can just put it in a rough orbit and then fix it later. I mean, you know. But anyway, we must pick up the main stage. I burned off all the fuel, but didn't quite make land. But we got very close. So now we'll test how well it comes back. But it's very unstable. And during re-entry, we lose a couple of parachutes on the underside, and it does look very fiery. So that's a little annoying. I'll have to plan for that in the future. But I decided to pull them anyway to see how well 2 parachutes do, because this is very heavy. But it does slow down to about 16 meters a second on 2 parachutes, so it is viable. So we'll see more of that in the future. But anyway, we must quickly fix our orbit for the Duna Explorer core, obviously, because we're in a fairly elliptical? No. We're in a fairly eccentric, that's the word I was going for, eccentric orbit. So I want to put it in about a 78-kilometer orbit so that when we burn out of the system we don't deorbit, but at the same time we're not too high that we lose the benefit of the Oberth effect, because that is very important, and we don't have nuclear engines, as I keep saying, so we will want every advantage we can get. Yeah, I'm going to be using those Vestra engines, those really efficient, really light ones, for all of this. The return craft you see uses Vestra engines that has as little fuel on it as I could possibly get while still being able to return to Kerbal from Duna, because I need this to be light. So, but I did bring habitation because don't want to omit all logic and realism, because I mean, if you're going on a long journey in space, you're gonna really want some space. Yeah, you're gonna want space in space because you can't hang out outside for that long. But anyway, that's in a pretty good orbit, and on top you'll see a little box there. That is stuff for the Kerbal attachment system. It is mainly struts and a few other little parts. I quite like the Kerbal attachment system, but because I'm going to be using well, no, basically I'm using small docking ports, so I will need a little more structural integrity, so I took a few attachable struts. But now, this is the drive section, and the vehicle lifting it is my... Well, the vehicle I usually use, the one I'm trying to make reusable, is called Triton 1, and this is called Triton Heavy, kind of stealing things from SpaceX, but Triton is one of Neptune's moons, I believe. But anyway, these boosters do cross-feed into the center. This is kind of similar to the Falcon Heavy, because they have the best rockets, so I thought I might as well steal their ideas. This, as you probably saw there, this was horrible to control, and still is. It's pulling off to the side for some reason, and that's why this is way off base, and it's getting really uncontrollable now. I have no idea what was causing this. I thought maybe one of the engines hadn't fired, but yeah, it was a horrible rocket to fly, especially with those boosters. But I'm just trying to kill my target velocity and get as close as possible. But it's not looking good, and this isn't in reusable setup, because it would be very easy to reuse this stage now, incredibly easy, but the boosters wouldn't be reusable, so it would, you know, be of dubious point, and this is an experimental rocket anyway. But I have upgraded the Triton rockets to use this KW engine because it's more efficient, and that means they have even greater lifting power than they already do, which is a lot of lifting power. But anyway, I just basically burn at this target. I did this whole maneuver awfully. That launch was pretty bad. The rocket, well, the rocket wasn't great, and now I'm just, by this time it was about 4:30 in the morning, because I couldn't be bothered to sleep. Anyway, so I was just like, I'm burning at this target, screw it. But yeah, what you saw there was I just ditched the probe on top, which was there just for build quality. But anyway, now I've skipped ahead until docking because this took quite a long time. But yeah, so we're just gonna bring it in. It is on the dark side again. Sorry about that. There's been a lot of stuff on the dark side. But yeah, I'm sure you'll live. I'll try to brighten it, I think, and I will be putting some lights on this at some point. There is actually one in that little box of Kerbal attachment system thing. So yeah, that's going together quite nicely. But anyway, this is obviously going to be quite unstable because... Oh, and I left that upper stage on because I'm going to leave that so I have as much fuel as possible. But this is going to be quite unstable because there's quite a lot of thrust now going to be pushing against this, and it will be held under compression, and that'll probably screw with those docking ports. So I'm using the Kerbal attachment system to put some struts on to keep it stable. So yeah, and I have this kind of picture of in my mind of like, say if I had a big old base around Jool or something or somewhere, and like the next transfer window was quite far away, and say I broke a landing leg or something, then I could like hash one together out of like those cubic struts or something. I just like the idea of making orbital repairs. Oh, and I hadn't actually used it. I'd used it like the used Kerbal attachment once before this thing here, so I couldn't figure out quite how to link the struts. But you click link, not attach, Peter. Yeah, I was very confused and very tired, like unbelievably tired. I don't know why. I was like, well, I started off playing this, so I was like, okay. And then by the end, I was really tired because I've been playing it for quite a while. But I wanted to get this done because it's actually quite fun doing this kind of orbital repairs. For God's sake, just learn what the game does. Oh God, I got clicking attach instead of link for some goddamn reason. And you know what? I actually blame it on Bob Kerman. But yeah, the crew is Bob Kerman, Jebediah Kerman, obviously the first interplanetary mission. He has to be there, and Franklin Kerman, the scientist who was on Minmus. Bill Kerman will be remaining on station. Oh, and the station has now been renamed, or actually it hasn't technically been renamed now, but it is been renamed to the Prospector, which was an idea by Will Ferguson 321. Basically, a long time ago, I promised him that he could name the station in a series I was going to do, but then never did. So yeah, and I really like the name Prospector. First off, because it's a cool name, and second off, because it apparently is the name of the first space station in the real world. So it does make sense that my first space station is also called the Prospector. Even though we are in a completely different universe where stars are 10 times smaller and people are little and green, and actually I think they're about the same size as humans. I mean, yeah, that would make sense. I think the system is about 10 times smaller, but the actual objects are the same size. But yeah, yeah, I just spent quite a while starting this together, but I did learn how to do it in the end, which was lucky, or this would have been horrifying to watch. And I can just do most of the maintenance sitting here right next to the box and where I need to be attaching things. And I do quite like how stuff looks when it goes on the Kerbal's backs. And you can pick up that entire container, and it looks pretty good. But yeah, I will be. I think right now is the mods I'm using. I will make a mod list at some point. People do keep asking me, and I will make one soon. I'll make one as soon as possible. When I get round to it, basically. But I may have already done one by the time this comes out. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think the mods I'm using right now is basically all the mods I'm gonna use. So I think the Kerbal attachment system will be. Maybe I'll find some other extra little bit. Maybe I'll put some. I'm not sure about like beautify mods or anything because it already loads terribly anyway. But maybe. And I'm also thinking there's one little mod I quite like the idea of. It means that you can see objects from very far away. It just doesn't load physics, and it's quite a nice idea because then you can see things from far away, and it's and possibly the one that changes how some of the Kerbals look. Just I don't know, but I don't want to make it look completely un-Kerbal-y. I do try to use like some mostly stock parts. I mean, I do use a lot of KW engines, but I prefer using like stock fuel tanks and stock plane parts. Although, I mean, you know, for building stuff like space shuttles, I like the B9 parts, but mainly because my space shuttles are quite copied off Scott Manley's, just slightly changed. I'm not sure if I'll actually make a space shuttle in this series. I mean, the aeronautical division is obviously, you know, they're not brilliantly funded, so they need to be thinking of things to do, and we're working on actual reusable rockets. So I mean, something like a space shuttle of such dubious reusability would surely be laughed at by the rocket boys. You know. Um, but anyway, yeah, that's all strutted together. It took a little while, but that was a nice little work scene and gave me some time to talk about things. But I thought I'd get a quick cinematic. This isn't finished. There will obviously be a lander. That will all be in the next episode. But yeah, so I need to attach a lander and send it out and do a few, and actually send a service mission as well, because I literally had 4 launches to make this entire craft. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. This has been KSP with Tape. I'll see you next time.